this is Chef Paul. Welcome to Paul's Kitchen. Today we're going to do some apple butter. Apple butter is a beautiful sauce you can use as a spread on bread, on anything else. It's something you can use on beef, on ribs, on chicken, pork products. You can use it on a lot of things. One thing I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be adding any sugar in this. If you want to, be my guest. However, apples are fruit and you really don't need to. So before we begin, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share. So the amounts are subjective. We're all cooks, we all know what we're doing, so I mean, we had some apples that we've had for a little bit, so we're just going to get rid of them. So I'm going to start off by cutting the apples up. You don't need to go too nuts because they're going to be going in to get pureed soon enough. So we're going to put this on the oven back here. We're going to put about a half to 3/4 cup of water. And you know what, I think I want just a little bit more. You just want to know that there's a little bit of a base on there so that your pot doesn't burn. And that looks to be enough there. And if you have too much, it'll be too liquidy. You do need to have it become a little bit more firm later. Not everybody's favorite, but if you're diabetic, this is a really good thing for you. It will help your diabetes. If your sugars are a little too high, it'll bring it down. Not necessarily the greatest taste in the world on its own, but believe me, you do need this. Apple cider vinegar. So we're going to dump a couple tablespoons worth in there. It's a few splashes. And we're going to put some cloves. We're going to put some cinnamon. And also something really good for it too, because cinnamon, believe it or not, is something that will help reduce your sugars. It has a sweet taste to it, nice tang, and it's good. Nutmeg. I don't know that you can find the actual nutmeg plant thing so easily around here, but you can get the spice. Very important. You want to load this all on here. And what you want to do is just make sure that you just dump quite a bit of the nutmeg in there, because that's going to be really important. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this on on 50, a little bit higher. And what you're going to do is you're going to spread that around, make sure all the spice is all mixed in really well until it starts becoming a little bit more soft. Probably 20 minutes or so. Give it a little stir. When it's done, we're going to come back, we're going to put it through the processor, we're going to try that stage. But until then, while it's cooking, it's very, very important that you stir this so that all the spice is actually going over everything, because this is what's giving its flavor. You want to take your time and you want to make sure you're doing that right. Everything's all mixed in really good. It doesn't take much. Watch your stove. Every stove's different. I say 20 minutes. It may only be 10. Maybe it may take 15. It may take a little longer. Really depends on your stove. This isn't something to put on and go watch TV for half an hour. You really want to watch this. Doesn't mean you have to babysit every step of the way, but make sure you're getting up every now and watch. So when I've got this all cooked down a little bit more, I'll come back and we'll show you that process. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back. So when we come in here, we see this is really nice and soft. I had it temporarily off the heat for a little minute here, not a big deal. We're going to take the contents and we're going to put it in the blender. You can use a food processor, one of those stand things, you can use those, whatever. You just need to make this into a puree. So you're just going to take a few minutes and you're going to put this here. Some people are going to tell you, you know what, you really should have taken the peels off. I'm not into that. I feel like the peels actually give it a little bit more flavor. So it's always good. It's not bad. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, a lot of people when they're making stuff with jam or marmalade with oranges and stuff, you have to use a rind. So it is edible. You just have to make sure everything's all cleaned. Take a minute and clean. I mean, really, it's you're putting this in your stomach, so I mean, might as well. So make sure you get everything out, because you really want this all pureed, and you don't want to waste anything either. Waste is bad. So we're going to put this on the blender here. Make sure you have a cover for it, or it's going to make a lot of mess. I'm not making a whole lot of jokes right now because it's not Amy doing the camera work today. It's my friend Kat. So I had a cat. So I'm not going to make my same jokes that I normally do. So on this, we got the little puree thing here. Okay, this is obviously not the most powerful thing I've ever had. So what you want to do is just stir the more other parts are on top, put it down the bottom. If you left it cooking long enough, it probably didn't do this, and I probably could have had it on for a few minutes more. And we almost got it. Almost. And it's going to look almost like an applesauce consistency, but you kind of want to have thicker, right? So just want to make sure that you get all the solid parts down in so that the solid parts are being taken care of. Otherwise, it's not going to be as pureed as you want. Okay, we're pureed. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this back out, and you can still see it's pretty hot, right? Nice and pureed. So we're going to put this back in the same pot. And Kat, does this look like it's pretty smooth?
Looks great.
You want to give this a good cleaning so that it's taking as much of this out as you can, because otherwise it's just going in a cleaner and you're missing out on some of the actual product you're making. And I don't know about you, but every little bit counts. If you're going to put this on your ribs after you cook them, you really want to have as much as you can get. And when you think about it, the reality is, I mean, you're using a lot of apples to make this, and after it purees down, it's not really, in reality, it's just not as much as you think you're going to get. In that case, just make a little bit more. Not that hard to do. So I cleaned that out as much as I'm going to be able to get it. We're going to put it back in the back burner, and we're going to put it medium, right? We don't need much more than that. Stirring it around, it's pretty pureed. I mean, this is pretty thick. If you're looking for things to do with this, you can use it as, instead of putting butter and jam in your toast in the morning, you can use just that. You can make your ribs, boil them a little bit, then bake them. When they're done baking, you can put that over them. I wouldn't suggest putting it on before baking. It's going to crisp up a little bit. You're going to lose a little bit of flavor. It's just not worth it. So what you're going to do is you're going to heat this up until it starts bubbling, almost like, say, the consistency of like a spaghetti sauce. When it starts bubbling up, then you know that it's cooked enough. It's good. It doesn't really take a whole lot of effort. It really, really doesn't. but the flavor of this is just absolutely amazing. My friend Kat here has never had this before. We have a lot of apples that need to get eaten because otherwise they'll just go bad, and you know what? I don't really like wasting food. So I'll find a reason to use anything. Kat said she's never heard of it, never had it, so I want her to have a little bit. So that's my main prerogative. We're making ribs tomorrow, so the majority of this is going to be going on ribs. So this will be good for that. So I'm going to let you guys go for now. When we come back, this will be done, and you'll be able to see the final product. So we'll see in a few minutes. Welcome back to Paul's Kitchen, and we're done. It was boiling up. It doesn't really take long, to be honest with you. No longer than I had Kat sit back down. It is done. So, I mean, it doesn't take long. Sometimes people will take a little bit longer. It doesn't need it. I definitely wouldn't suggest overcooking it. It'll come a little thinner sometimes. You don't want it thinner. You want it thick. And you can see the consistency here. And when you put this in the fridge, you let it sit for about an hour. That's all it needs. It doesn't need much more than that. But, I mean, it just tastes amazing. And I mean, if you really wanted to, you can just eat this as is. You don't really need to put on anything. So this is my apple butter sauce. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share, tell your buddies about it. Thank you for coming, and until next time, just please stay safe.